still not subscribed to the partition, you know, it's a lot of ways that you can do this besides watching all the content. But before we start, always remember, go to the channels link. Every show that we have, you can always see every show before everybody else see the show. But besides that, always remember, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, put it on all. Until then, always remember, anything is possible. Thank you for choosing the partition. Now let's get into the show. Anything is possible. Peace.
Stand up, they looking at me like, I know you're not waiting.
Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I know about Sir Charles. Not every 5 or 10 minutes, my son got me this with my dad, so I can always have him with me whenever I do the show. Take 2. Hold on, wait. I don't want to laugh. Welcome back to Choppin It Up with Lil Ron. Today in the studio, I have a very special guest. I actually met this particular guest at an event that Miss Mika had, which was a human trafficking event that she have called Hidden in Plain Sight. And I was excited to meet this lady when I actually touched her hand and say, man, it's an honor to meet you. I want you guys to welcome the one and only, our future mayor, Miss Robin Williams. How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a huge pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to get to the nitty-gritty.
Yes, ma'am. You know,
Houston, Texas.
Yes, you know, every time people come on the show, I always tell them, hey, look, kind of introduce themselves to my fans, because some of my fans know you and some of them don't know you. Give us a quick rundown who you are, and I got it from there.
Absolutely. My name is Officer Robin Williams, and I am running to become your next mayor of Houston, Texas in 2023. Many people want to know why I would choose to run for mayor. The answer is simple. I've lived a life of leadership and servitude, and those roles chose me.
I love that because I have a uncle that's a police officer that's retired. I have a brother. I have a sister-in-law that's a police officer. My grandfather was the very first black police officer in Galena Park. So I come from a family of law enforcement. So I do admire it. I have an uncle that actually served in Desert Storm. I have a cousin that actually served in the Marines. I have
Semper Fi.
Yes, I have so many people that's in my family do so much important stuff. And when we talk about leadership, you know, a lot of people get into different type of politics and they promise stuff and they never come through. In my era, one of the best mayors that I like was actually Lee Brown, because I remember.
Absolutely. We're friends. We're friends.
Oh, for real? He's doing pretty good?
Yes, he's doing well.
Man, Brown was actually real. That's back when Whoppers was 99 cents, because I used to work at Burger King, so I know what they actually cost. So, what made you want to actually become a mayor?
Ultimately, I am tired of being lied to. Politicians lobby for police officers, military, clergy leaders, and our first responder votes and leave us with broken promises. So as a police officer and a Marine Corps veteran, they lobby for us all the time. When I say they, politicians, they get us together and promise us all of the tools needed to keep every citizen safe in Houston, Texas. And so after they're done with their photo ops and taking photos with us and putting this very cool caption on Facebook or Instagram, we're left with broken promises. So if you can literally lie to the police department, the police officers, who's the first line of defense to the public, what will you lie to the public about? It's time for a change of direction.
And you're right. And I actually, that's one of the things that I go by. One of my mottos is why lie. I tell them, hey, look, if you're going to tell somebody, just tell them the truth. And a lot of people, they promise us stuff, even in president stuff, man. They promise, say, you're going to do this just to get themselves inside of their position to where they be at. And then once they get there, they forget about the small people that helped them get there and they remember the other people that is not important, and they feel like that everybody's voice is not important. What I took from you when I saw law enforcement, I knew that was up under your belt. I knew you were special because I know what my brother and I know what my sister-in-law goes through daily. I hear the horror stories that they tell me that they have to see, and it is not pretty. It's heartbroken when they have to call somebody and tell them that their family member didn't make it, and how they have to break down and stuff. And my brother and his wife, they both have like nightmares sometimes. They see certain stuff that people don't see every day. The news only show you what they want you to see, not what you need to know. And when you look at somebody that's your voice, they're going to go out there and they're going to fight for you and say, hey, look, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to make it better. I'm not going to tell you about what this person did. Let me tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to show you this. So upon doing that and being in law enforcement and you getting yourself prepared for that field, did you have any obstacles, like somebody telling you, like, don't nobody want no female mayor, it's not gonna work? By you being black, nobody's gonna vote for you. Did you actually have that problem?
I think I will have to start from the beginning. When I was 19 years old, when I served in the Marine Corps, there's where I found my first no.
Okay.
I wanted to become a sergeant. Everybody in the military wants to become a sergeant. Those 3 stripes up, cross rifles in the middle if you're a Marine. And I remember someone telling me it takes about 7 to 8 years to be a sergeant. There's no way you can do it. So I asked for the menu and I said, hey, I want to read it myself. And I read it and I did everything that I was supposed to do to become a sergeant. And I made sergeant in my first enlistment in 3.5 years of serving in the Marine Corps. So that was my first no. So I took no and made it new opportunities. Then I left the Marine Corps, went into the reserves, finished my 4 years active duty, went on to the reserves, and then I became the manager of the American Red Cross in Houston, Texas. And I remember going up against 20-year veterans in humanitarian work, 15, 10 plus, and individuals were like, I don't know, you're young, you're 23, you really think you can be the manager of the American Red Cross? Do you really think that? You're going to be over volunteers. I was over reconnecting refugees displaced by war. And I told them, yes, I'm going to still interview. And I went in there with my head held high, and I knew what I was able to bring to the Red Cross that no one else was able to bring, and that was compassion and heart. And the fact that I went back down in the face of adversity. And I walked in there and I told Mr. Steve, he was our CEO at the time, and I told him that I'm going to be one of the greatest workers you've ever had. And he was like, you're pretty young. So what fears do you have? I said, my only fear is that I'm probably going to smile during situations where I shouldn't smile, because I always smile. For whatever reason, I am a big smiler. Said, that's it, and I love too much. And I got the call December 19th, and he was like, hey, you got the job. So then I would go on to, I actually got sponsored to be a police officer.
Wow.
So I worked for HPD in the jail. And then I went on to work for Missouri City in the jail. And I went up to, I believe, one of my captains, and I was like, hey, I want to be a police officer. Because everyone kept telling me about it. I kept seeing it. At first, I was denying it. I was denying the calling to serve further. I was like, I put on that Marine Corps uniform. I know how passionate I was when I had that uniform on. There's no greater brotherhood, sisterhood than serving in the Marine Corps. That's right. And then that police blue bug bit me, and I came to him, and he was like, well, we don't usually do that. We haven't done that in years. I was like, oh, okay. So he was like, well, if you do it on your own, we'll support you. And I was like, oh, okay. A couple of months later, down the line, a sergeant came to me and said, hey, do you know that you've just been accepted into the police academy and that Missouri City is going to pay for it?
Whoa.
So when it comes to being a when it comes to being a mayor, has someone told me no? Absolutely. People was telling me, hey, you don't have political experience. Do you think that's enough to run against individuals with very little or more experience than you? I said, absolutely. There is not a politician running who has served this country. There's not a politician running who has served in a blue uniform that's running for mayor.
That's correct. You're right. And that's one of the things that attracted me. I was like, hold on. I don't think people understand. This lady don't have not one, not two, but she have three things up under her belt, man. They don't know who they actually up against. 'Cause I said it from the very first moment I looked. I said, man, I can feel this lady energy, man. I know this lady is passionate about this, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to try to help her to hear her voice, have it being told to my friends, my family, my fans. I want them to know who she is. She's important to me, and I don't care what it takes. We're gonna make this happen.
Absolutely. So a lot of people was telling me maybe I should be a city council member. There's nothing wrong with being a city council member, but I know what God put in my heart to do. I know what I saw in the dark. I got to see the things that creep and crawl. Like you mentioned, your sister-in-law, brother and sister-in-law. Uh, a lot of people don't know the police and the military have the highest rate of suicide.
That's right.
So I got to see that. I got to see Harvey. I got to see COVID up front, close and personal. You know, when people was being told to stay inside, I had to still work my 10-hour plus shift. I maybe saw over 200 deceased individuals. A lot of people don't know during COVID, police officers were clearing the bodies. We were calling the medical examiners. We were examining the body. We were calling funeral homes, next of kin for individuals that fell victim to COVID-19. Right. So, and then we had the freeze was in the midst of it too. It was before COVID, but we took blow after blow and pipes bursting, and I couldn't go home. I had to wear the same uniform for a couple of days until we were able to get power and warm water to shower. But I was out there saving lives and rescuing people. And I remember seeing the elderly being trapped. And if you've ever seen an elderly person that needs help, that's when frigid temperatures, the house is surrounded in water, and you're walking in there, and they reach out to you because all they see is hope.
That's right.
So I want Houston to reach out to me, and I want you to be able to hold my hand and know that I am going to provide you with hope and that we are ushering in a new generation. A change of direction is on the way. And the reason why I continue to say a change of direction is on the way is because that's the name of my policy that we're bringing in, a change of direction. We're going to address mental health. Mental health is near and dear to me. My mom struggled with schizoaffective major depression throughout my entire childhood. I watched my mom go from being a registered nurse to ultimately being homeless, addicted to drugs, and a victim of human trafficking. So I watched my mom go into prostitution, and it broke my heart. And I watched my brother, my cousin, and my uncle all be slain to gun violence, random gun violence. So I understand when people are crying out for some type of support that our children are dying. I got a call that I was not prepared to get in my uniform that my brother had been shot in the head and that he is on his way to a hospital and we don't know if he's going to live. I had to call my mother and render her a death notification that my brother was killed.
Wow.
So I understand your pain. This is not a competition or a beauty pageant. This is not a popularity contest. This is our lives. We are fighting for Houston to stand. It's on its way to being the third largest city. It's time that we are in the forefront where we belong.
That's right.
Our city is big enough. We need better transportation. We need better roads. I know people are tired of potholes.
I know my car be every time you look up, it is, and especially too, a lot of these slumlords. I hate to say it, these slumlords. These people come in and say they're gonna fix it. It's a lot of people that treat people so wrong. And some people get things that they don't deserve it and they don't need it. And people overlook that type of stuff and they want to turn their back. And it shouldn't be that way. We're supposed to be able to help one another.
Absolutely. So we have the change of direction, which is mental health first. Then we have bridging the gap between citizens and police officers. We have to address the trauma and the elephant in the room.
That's right.
On behalf of every police officer, I want to issue an apology. I am sorry for the hurt. I am sorry that you felt like you were not good enough being a minority driving a vehicle. I want to apologize for being racial profiled. I want to apologize for the lack of help when you reached out. And I'm sorry. Until we apologize for the trauma, our nation will not heal. And we have to address that. We have burned a bridge that we need to cross. We've burned a bridge of trust, and now the communities are acting out, and they don't know how to solve it. Now we have the feds and what was this? 2 weeks ago, they just came in to Houston and said, "Hey, we're here to help. We're here to clean up our streets." We had to have an outside entity come in and rectify a situation if they're able.
Wow.
And of course, we have crime. We have to address crime, like you said, slumlords. That's a part of crime. That's civil law. Constables deal with civil law.
That's correct.
So that's precinct 721. So they deal with that. And slumlords, and not only that, group home owners, they take advantage of individuals that may be mentally delayed or may be diagnosed with a mental illness. Or not only that, they're workers. They take advantage of individuals that are willing to step up and do the job, and they're not paying them on time. They're not providing them with the resources, and they think it's okay to disregard people's cries. Slumlords, we see them all around. What are you going to do? We'll call someone. Maybe you don't have the resources to get a lawyer, but you should be able to go to City Hall and it not be like the Wizard of Oz, the yellow brick road that Dorothy had to follow, and she had to go through every hoop and fire to just get to the Wizard of Oz and realize that this person was a fake. I want you to get to City Hall and know that Robin Williams, your next mayor, is going to do what she told you she was going to do. And then we have flooding. That's our last big step on the change of direction policy. Flooding in minority communities. We have third ward that floods all the time. Fifth ward floods all the time. We don't have adequate drainage. We know that the plumbing and the drainage has not been updated in the last 99 years. But we have communities that do not flood. Like I live right there off of Scott and Beltway 8, very close to Pearland and the Brunswick community. It doesn't flood. It hasn't flooded in the last 100 years because we have these really big drainage in front of our homes.
Gotcha.
And we're not stuffing it with trash.
Yeah, but that's another thing. A lot of people, they just throw things.
But if you don't have individuals coming, not saying that city works are not, or public works are not doing their job, it's the fact that they may lack resources. But we have to teach individuals, okay, this is how you put the trash out. On heavy days, do they know the difference between heavy days
trash and regular days? Some people don't.
Days, some people don't. I know when I first purchased my home, I was maybe 25, and I had some bushes cut down, and they wouldn't pick them up. And I ended up, the portion of my grass ended up dying. I'm like, what's going on? Because one of my seasoned neighbors had to tell me, hey, you need to wrap your bushes with some cord, with some string
or something, because they won't touch it sometimes.
Because they're not going to pick it up, and he wrapped it for me. And moving forward, I had learned something. And a lot of times, but a lot of people don't know that this information should be prevalent. This information should be easily accessible. It should not be like pulling teeth.
That's right. And you know, some people too, they are scared to go out and vote. They always. One thing I hate about some people, we always complain about who get elected in. But we do not take that. Oh, man, if you vote, man, you still don't get it. You do not know that. If you get up and you go out and you go vote, your voice can be heard. It doesn't matter if somebody fabricates something. You cannot stop God's work. If God wants you to be there, you're going to be there. Ain't nobody going to stop that. That is destined to be. I know, and I believe in my heart, and I believe everything that you telling me out your mouth, and I know when you get in there, and you are going to get in there, when you get in there, I promise you, I know that you are going to give us the voice that we've been crying for the last 15, 20 years.
Absolutely, absolutely, because this is personal to me. Homelessness is personal. Mental illness is personal. Crime is personal. I felt it. I cried. I called out for my first love, my mother. I cried out. I cried out for my brother. You know, I cried out for the fact that my brother's children will grow up without a father. As much as I have stepped up in their lives, I am not their father, I'm their auntie. Or their aunt, or they call me TT Robin, whatever you want to call me. I'm their, they're next in line for love. I don't want anyone to feel what I felt. And this is not a popularity contest. This is not about how much money you raise, because I can raise millions of dollars for my campaign that does not put gas in your tank, feed your children, that does not pay for health care, that does not pay your rent. So what I raise in my mayoral campaign should not be the focal point, but what I am doing in my campaign. And like I tell people all the time, yes, all of the other candidates are attorneys. And I have respect for attorneys. I work with attorneys because I'm a police officer. But the fact that I am not an attorney sets me apart, and it makes me different. And I am different.
That's right. And that's what I like. When you said, like, giving, like, prime example, every year people don't know, I do it under the radar, but I buy bikes for children and give it to them for Christmas. I never ask for a dime to come out of my pocket. If I give kids PlayStation 5s, I just to see their smile on their face. I want to see them happy, because sometimes it's not that child's fault that their parent lost their job and they don't have it. So I try to give it to them and say, hey, look, somebody love you. You may not have your daddy home, but hey, guess what? That is, you've been blessed. Here go the bikes, man, tennis shoes. I blessed a school with a whole bunch of laptops during the COVID-19. Never over 500 laptops came out of my pocket. I never asked for a dime back. I did it, kindness of my heart. I didn't want nobody to know. That's just who I am. I just believe in giving to people, because I know how it is not to have. And when you want something, you want to be give. I just gave almost about 20, 30 cases of water away to give to somebody to take to them people in Florida. A lot of people, they don't even know that. But I do a whole bunch, and I'm finna get ready to feed the homeless. We finna donate probably over 200 or 300 canned goods we finna give to some people that don't have no food. We finna take it in, we finna give it to them. So we finna, like, bless people, and we want to
Partner with me on that, because I made a promise to CUNY Homes when I fed CUNY Homes, and we did it. If you look at the track record of me campaigning, you see that I have more events with giving back to the community than I have events raising money.
Got you.
And that's not on purpose.
Well, the canned goods, well, we gonna make sure we donate
But
every one of the canned
the
goods.
reason why I say partner with me for CUNY Homes in November, it's because when I did the barbecue, I did the whole thing for the children. It was a 75-year-old woman. It was her birthday, and she had told me I hadn't eaten in 3 days. I didn't eat in 3 days. I asked God to send me a guardian angel, send me somebody, and he sent me you. And I take hard medication, and I'm sitting outside because there's so much mold in my apartment that I cannot breathe. It was 2 African-American women, older women, and she began to cry. And I told her I made a promise, and I don't always make promises because it's my job to uphold them and live up to them. But I made a promise that I was coming back, and when I come back, I'm coming back to feed you. And I want you to partner with me so that we can feed CUNY Homes. It is a forgotten community.
Gotcha.
And it shouldn't be that way. I'm never afraid to walk any trenches. I don't have security. I don't have a big team around. Well, my team is big. I have a lot of ladies. We have some men. We do. But I don't go where I have security and police by me. I go into the neighborhoods and I talk and I sit down and I listen. And I don't wear a suit. I may have on my gym shoes and my tights and my Robin Williams for Mayor t-shirt. And I'm out there serving the community, talking to them, listening to them. And the children tell me, more importantly, what's going on. Man, I'm hungry. When you coming back? I'm going to see you again. Yes, you're going to see me. You swear, you know. Are you going to see me? Yes.
I hear it a lot too. But sometimes when people see things and it's too good to be true, they be like somebody asked me a question the other day. They say, why do you do what you do? I told them, I said, well, to make a long story short, I had a horrible accident almost about 12 or 13 years ago. I actually ended up losing like three or four teeth on this side of my mouth. I actually had to learn how to talk again. It took me 6 months. I actually bleed every single day. And then my daughter, she was real small. So she was like about 4 or 5 at the time. When I laid in the bed to try to figure out what was going to be my next move, my daughter wanted something for Christmas that year, and I could not afford it. I'll never forget that year. And I texted into the phone. She read it, and she said, Daddy, don't worry about it. You always do for me. So no matter what, I'm going to still love you. A tear came out my eye, and I said, God, if you fix me and you put me back right, I promise you, I will never turn my back on nobody ever again. And we here right now. And that's from this
God
day
is
forward.
good.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I believe in the Most High God heavily, but I also believe in respecting other people's religions as well. So what I plan on doing on my inauguration day is we're going to have every nation pray.
Wow, that's what they need. They took it out of the schoolhouses, but
We're going to have every nation. We're going to have our Christians pray. We're going to have our Muslims pray. We're going to have our Jewish individuals pray. We're going to have our monks, whatever Buddhists. I want every nation because Houston is the most diverse city in the world, not just our nation, in the world. And I want every nation to pray because we're getting ready to step into a new era. We're praying. We're calling on our gods. We're calling on God to deliver us because God has to be in the midst when we move forward. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't want my religion trampled over. If I don't believe in God, you're not out. You're not, whether you believe in the Most High God, atheist, whatever God you serve, I want that God there. I want every nation to pray in their tongue.
and that's that's a lot of people. I don't hear mayors talk about that. I just do not hear them
That's
talk
inclusion because I want to feel you.
That's correct.
Whether we have an atheist representative there to do a poem, I want you there because I want every nation to pray in their tongues. So when we pray together, that means we're getting ready to serve. I have 4 years to get Houston to where it needs to be because it's my job to open the door for the next minority woman, not just a black woman, Hispanic woman, Asian woman, Indonesian, whatever. It's my objective to open the door so that it's not as hard as it is when I ran.
Gotcha. So this is another question I want to ask. Now, you have a strong team. One of the people in your team, I know her personally. You have a very strong team. Do you ever get tired sometimes? I know you do a lot of stuff, but do you ever actually get tired?
Absolutely. I get tired. I'm still an active police officer, so I work from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., 10 hours. And with crime, I may
Overtime.
work 13, 14 hours. I get tired. But the thing about a mayor is that we're over a lot of things. But if you ever look at the organizational chart, you see that there's other organizations underneath it. So as a leader, I lean heavily on my team. I cannot do this by myself. It is impossible. So we have to delegate, and I have to trust the people that I swore to serve and protect is going to serve and protect the people that have my attention and my heart's desire. So my team does a fabulous job on going to events, representing me, walking and talking as Robin Williams for mayor because they know how much compassion I have for people. So I am so thankful. A round of applause for Robin Williams for mayor team members because they kick butt. Those women and men kick butt. They kick butt.
We know the people that you actually pick, they very strong people. And I do like how you are the voice for the people. And some people, they don't understand that. Do you have any support from Sheila Jackson Lee or maybe I think it's Al Green? Not yet.
No, so not yet, but we were just at an event with Sheila Jackson and we spoke. We shared the same, like, two black women. She's an older woman, very seasoned in what she does, and her passion is still ignited and she still thrives for Houston. And I am coming up, and we held hands yesterday at the LGBTQ plus marriage club. LGBT plus, that's it. Not the Q. It's not.
She was at a Zydeco thing the other day, dancing. I think she was at dancing at a Zydeco event.
We was at the LGBT marriage club yesterday together. And if you go look on my Facebook, social media. It was a bunch of black women in suits. We all were black in every shade of the rainbow.
I love
And
that.
we did that. And I don't want to be endorsed by everyone. That
Gotcha.
is not, I'm not out here chasing endorsements. Where I want my endorsements to come from is the people.
That's right.
I would rather be endorsed by the people versus familiar faces because we may not always agree with them.
Yep. That's right.
But for the people, when the nation is behind you, when the people of Houstonians are behind you, you have the vote. You have the heartbeat of the city. So I don't want to be endorsed by everyone. That's not my mission. That's not my objective. Kudos to other politicians that seek endorsement. But from day one, my endorsement I want is from the people.
And that's the way it should be. Now we come to my favorite segment. This is called Leon's Top 5. Leon was a cousin of mine. He actually got killed in an 18-wheeler last year.
Oh, wow.
He was a big fan of all my shows. So I promised him that I will turn back around and make sure his legacy is always lived. So what will be Miss Williams' top 5 artists that she listened to? You got to listen to somebody on this campaign.
Of course,
stuff.
I'm not prude at all. Of course, Beyonce is number one.
Okay.
You know, I love me some Beyonce.
Okay.
I love me some Chief Keef.
Okay.
I love some Chief Keef. I love Usher.
All right.
And for my older crowd, I love me some Betty Wright. Don't blame Mr. Charlie.
Mr. Charlie just a man.
And he's doing.
I was listening to Clean Up Woman the other day. I was listening to it while I was rhyming.
Come on. And I love me some Isley Brothers.
Well, speaking of Isley Brothers, I just had Ronnie Spencer. He sounds just like Ron Isley. I had him on the actual show, a real wonderful guy. He even got tracks, he said, with Ron Isley that nobody ain't never heard before, which me and my guy, we're going to do an episode with him. We're hanging out with Lil Ron, but we'll actually get a chance to listen to that particular cut. Now, the next thing I want to ask is, how can the people find you on social media?
Absolutely. So official Robin.Williams. So my ambassador is here for, but I remember. Official Robin.Williams for Instagram. TikTok, Robin Williams for Mayor. Facebook, Robin Williams for Mayor.
You got a TikTok?
Yes, I have a TikTok.
Oh.
We be ticking it and talking it. TikToking.
Anybody
Yes.
get the message across? It doesn't matter.
We
long as you get it
TikTok.
across.
Okay, look, that's the younger generation. I'm down with Generation Z. I'm trapped in between two generations. You know, our older generation, I'm a millennial, and then we have Generation Z that's coming after me. I want to be protected. So I got my
Got you.
best interest is in Generation Z.
Got
And we
you.
can't forget about the ones who paved the way
Wait
for
for
us.
us.
So, and also Twitter is Robin Williams for Mayor, or you can just simply Google Robin Williams for Mayor or Robin Williams Houston, and it pops up. Everything pops up.
All I want to do is once you get in the office and once you complete all your terms, I just want to be allowed to make the biopic on you.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to film and shoot the biopic because this is history, man.
No one has asked me that before. Okay, I don't think I've even thought about my biopic. I know that I will make history as the first African American female mayor, and I've already made history being the first one to even go in and submit my paperwork and said I'm running.
Wow.
So,
That's-
as the first African American female mayor, so of course, so we're gonna have to hold tight to that. I want tons of biopics,
I got
but
you.
I definitely want people to get into the nooks and crannies of what made me, and especially I didn't always have a perfect childhood. I don't come from, a mom and a dad household. My grandmother raised me because my mom suffered severely throughout my childhood. My father, I love him to death. He is my first love, my first superhero. We are very, very, very close. I believe that every woman should have that father in their lives. It makes such a big difference. But if you don't, you should have a close mentor that you can trust.
I know my baby, she loves her daddy. She just, Daddy asked, what you want for your birthday? I want the iPhone 14. I said, man, that's a lot of stuff to have, man, for a little girl that's going to be 15 years old. She's talking about, well, we got the money, we need it. I said, no, we do not.
You know that the Generation Z is different.
Yeah, I
They
have a
live
pager.
in a tech world. That
Yes.
technology. Whew.
Yes, it is.
So I don't have children yet. So I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad that I don't have a teenager
Oh,
yet.
wow. Well, I enjoyed you, Miss Williams, and I am going to support. And whatever me and my team can do to help you, man, we're going to do our best. We are going to donate a whole bunch of food to you. So we got a lot of canned goods. We're going to make sure we actually get to you and your team.
Yes.
And I will make sure I will bring you back, hopefully, before you get into the actual seat. Because if you get
I'll
in the
make
seat,
it my business. I know next year we're gearing up to go full throttle next year. We're gearing up for this thing.
okay.
And so, but I'll make it my duty to come back because I always come back to places that make me feel good. That share my passion. And you share my passion.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have a lot of similarities.
Yes, ma'am.
And I can feel it. So I'll make sure of that. I know we'll be busy, but I'll make sure of that.
I got, when you come back, you will get a chance to see Hanging Out with Lil Ron. I have another show. And this one, before you leave today, I want to show it to you. This set is going to be bad. It's going to be nice. It's going to be laid back.
This is nice. This is laid back. I love it. I feel all 3-7, breathe.
I actually wanted to design something different. I wanted to be a different person. I wanted to have a different thing that people can see, that they can love. And within a year, I accomplished a lot that people told me I could not do, but I done it.
No, it's new opportunities.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Until next time, always remember, anything is possible. Thank you for choosing Chopping Up with Lil Ron. Do not be scared to go to the polls. Don't type in Robin.
Need you.
You need to put Robin Williams. I'm telling you, make sure you vote. I guarantee you, you will not be cheated, man. She's going to treat you. I'm telling you, this lady is going to do exactly what she said. She took out the time of her day to come all the way out here to make this possible for you guys to know who she is. If she care about me to come here, then I'm telling you, she going to care about you. Until next time, we out. Peace.